Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our discussion on the Cobra Kai Season 4 finale, Season 4, Episode 10. Man, was this a good finale. This was a great finale, actually. I'm just going to throw that out there right now.
It was so good. I mean, there was a lot packed into this. There were a lot of really uplifting moments. There was a lot of tough moments. I mean, we're going to go through it all and we're going to try to go through it in order for you guys, even though, of course, we want to jump right into the Terry Silver of
I
it
know, I
all.
know.
But we're going to try to kind of go through order because there is a lot to
Yeah.
cover and, it doesn't need to get lost.
One thing I'll say, just big picture here from the jump, is I know there's a lot of people out there who very much are in the school of I want to be right all the time so that I can go on Twitter and be like, you're wrong, I'm right, look how awesome I am. I hate being right when it comes to TV shows because that means that a show did a very bad job in sort of making things unpredictable and exciting. There were a lot of things in this finale I did not see coming at all, and I am grateful for that.
Me too. I mean, in our last video, we kind of gave some predictions on some stuff. It did not go that way. I am also really thankful for that.
Well, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You know, we have been here discussing all things Cobra Kai throughout this season. Thank you guys for hanging around with us. We've got a lot of awesome stuff coming up. This Is Us, Power Book 2 Ghost. There's so much fun stuff happening over the next few months.
Yeah, and Snowfall and Killing Eve. I mean, there's a lot coming up. All right, so let's sort of start here with maybe some of the Hawk Robbie fight. Holy, okay, that fight was so good.
Yeah, I loved everything about this. I mean, even first and foremost, I even love the fact that Miguel wasn't in it. I know we both, got up on our pedestals and said we were going to throw rocks or something if they had Miguel miraculously recover, and he did kind of miraculously recover.
Yeah, I mean, they made it seem like he threw his back out so bad that I thought, oh my goodness, he has re-injured himself. This is all over again. And then it was if you're feeling better in 30 minutes, go on out. I was like, okay, you gave us such a huge cliffhanger to kind of be rub some cream on it and come back out. But I really loved how they worked it out that Johnny gave the worst sort of pep speech where he was basically you need to get back out there, do it for the dojo and do it for all these other reasons that aren't really to do with you. So I was glad that Miguel just decided no, this, if this isn't for me, then what am I here for?
He didn't need to win the All Valley. What would the All Valley Championship have done for him? He's already won one. I mean, it was already basically in a position where it would have taken a miracle on top of a miracle for Eagle Fang to ever have a chance of winning it at this point. And he was on some level hurting. His heart wasn't in it. And in contrast, I love that Eli got the opportunity because his heart was fully in it at this moment.
Yeah, and the thing that I also really liked about Eli kind of going back over and talking to Daniel, being I don't really know what to do. It was also great to have these moments with Daniel where he's kind of Cobra Kai, you also know Miyagi-Do, you can do this. You are on the same level as Robbie. Robbie knows both, you know both. You can do this. And it was nice to see that happen. If I really was sort of a betting woman, I wouldn't have thought that Eli would have won that fight, but it was good to see it.
It was great to see, and I like once again how they've sort of set up that Robbie is almost this perfect karate fighter, and I don't know in some way if this discredits Eli or discredits anyone else who goes against him, because it's sort of like we saw with Kenny in the Cobra Kai dojo earlier this season, that he was able to sort of play on him emotionally, and I feel like Robbie entering this match, he was emotionally affected by sort of some of what he has seen from Kenny and who Kenny has become, and I think he probably feels some responsibility that he saw Cobra Kai as sort of a means to an end, and he put on blinders to everything else going on for that, and this is the cost of it.
And rewind to the beginning of all our videos being maybe Kenny will be okay because he's going to be under Robbie's wing. And that was sort of, I think, what our hope was.
Yeah.
for Kenny, he has just got so much anger in him. Cobra Kai really got into his heart. Robbie was not able to mentor him. We saw Anthony try to apologize again to, Kenny, who was like, no, and just beat him down and threatened him. It was like, I'm going to be in your high school next year. Just wait. It's going to get worse for you. And all of that really hit with Robbie. And I mean, this is something that, Robbie said, it's a means to an end for me, but I know who I am and what is going on inside. And he did stick with that to the point that we finally had this breakthrough moment at the end with Johnny and Robbie, where Robbie was just like, I am sick of blaming you for everything, Dad. It is not all your fault. I am responsible for the things that I've done. I'm taking my responsibility, but I am just done with this. That hug was worth everything. It was so good.
Yeah, I loved that hug. I thought that hug was great. I think Tanner was great in the entire finale.
He was great.
This was just such an important, I think, growth moment for him, because he's always had he's always had a heart, and I think we've seen that Robbie can be very caring, but I think what Robbie sort of learned in this finale more than anything else is about accountability, but also about leadership. That, if Robbie really wants to be sort of this, I don't know, sensei, but at least a mentor, he can't just go and take Kenny off to train with him for a few hours and then just ignore everything else that's happening at the dojo and think that's going to be enough. It doesn't work like that.
No, he realized that he needs to have a better balance if he's going to be some sort of a mentor, and that he needs someone to mentor him that isn't a John Kreese or something like that, or even just himself, that he's just not where he thinks he is going to be. Are we going to see Robbie with his dad next season? I really hope so. I mean, they both really need to step towards each other. And we saw it at the end of this. I just really hope that that's what we're going to see. We're going to see Robbie and Eagle Fang.
Oh, boy. Listen, more Eagle Fang, the better. The more Robbie and Johnny together, the better.
Yeah, or if, we saw this sort of scene at the end happen where Johnny was like, first said, I'm gonna start Cobra Kai again. He walks back into this dojo. It's empty. It's gone. Terry Silver's done with it. It is closed down. It's just a space for rent. How great would it be to see Johnny and Robbie just open that up together as whatever?
That would be so much fun and heartwarming. And I think Johnny clearly needs some victories moving forward. And I hope we get some opportunities for that. Now we have the other showdown that we all of us collectively predicted would be here at the end of all of this. Tori versus Samantha. Okay, are you okay? I know what you're doing. You're doing your victory day. I'm going to do mine.
I am. I truly thought they were going to have it that Sam was going to win this. I really, really wanted Tori to win, and she won. I was so happy for that. It was so good. That moment where she was standing outside by herself after everyone left, and she just looked at that trophy and was like, I did this. Like, I earned this. I worked hard and I earned it, and I feel good about it. I was like, yes, you did. Even with Amanda showing up like right before her fight and doing the same condescending finger wagging, I'm going to go root for my daughter now. And basically, you have nobody here rooting for you. Like, it felt so... That part felt so icky. I really didn't like it whatsoever. I wanted the Sam and Tori fight to just be authentic, genuine, skill against skill, and that's the way it was going to go. So when we saw her go in and see Terry paying off the ref, my heart sank. And it sank for her too, but man, I was so pissed off.
So I know you were just doing your victory dance, but here's the ref doing his victory dance as he goes back with the bag that Terry Silver gave him to just completely botch this one moment in the final showdown. But then
it also I'm sitting back being like, okay, well, if the ref was able to put this together for Tori, then why didn't Robbie also win if we've paid off the ref? Like, what is going on here?
I don't. Maybe Terry just wanted the suspense. Maybe Maybe he just loves the theatrics and he wanted it to be the final moment. But it is kind of a good question because it is like, what if there wasn't a moment where the ref had to make an important, controversial call? Like, what would have happened in that case? Is this a situation where we didn't see the Terry conversation, so we don't know if Terry was just like, okay, well, if the battle starts to go really bad in favor of Samantha, try to figure something out, or if it was circumstantial. But man, it does suck for Tori. I mean, I think Tori should still be proud of the fact that she made it there, and she did a lot. I mean, she was impressive in that final showdown. You know, she was no slouch at all.
No, and I do think that the Tori character has really come far. Like, she, had that accident where she accidentally elbowed Sam in the eye, and even when she won, her first reaction was to go over and be like, hey, are you okay, sort of thing. And she did get swept away by everybody, but Tori has turned a corner.
You know who else may have turned a corner? And this is where we start to get into the real nitty-gritty, OMG, you fire off all the cannons territory, is that John Kreese, before this showdown really even finishes, he doesn't tell Tori to go back in there and basically injure her. He tells her to go ahead and fight her own battle. John Kreese, there's a tiny heart in there. We're seeing it. Well, look at you, you big softy.
Yeah, and as it turns out, Johnny is his weakness, and he really is feeling that, where, Johnny was somebody who was his surrogate son and that looked up to him. And then after, the All Valley back in the day, he choked him out, and he's felt terrible about it ever since. And man, Terry Silver is such a snake. Ooh, he is such a good villain. I am so thankful that he came onto this season and that they fleshed out his character the way that they did. He is not only, richer than God and can buy anything, but he is so manipulative and he is so intuitive and he picks up on things so quickly. That whole thing with Stingray that finally came around full circle, where we saw him get beat up, and I was saying in the last video, it should have been Kyler, but now I understand where we're going with this. It was all a setup to be like, if you want back in Cobra Kai, you say that John Kreese did this. He has been planning and trying to find a way to get Kreese out of here before anyone was even at the All Valley. Like, this was so well planned out.
It was so diabolical. This never even crossed my mind. Like, I thought it was just because they showed him like drinking and like struggling after everything between him and Kreese. I thought he was just on some sort of weird emotional meltdown, and Stingray was just an easy person to beat up. Like, I thought it was.
No, but there is this thing about Terry where he knows when it's time to tell people what they want to hear. And he did that so well with John after everything happened to Stingray. He was still like, to the other kids, listen to your sensei. John is right. John is this. John's the god of the dojo. He really played up everything to get John to that point, to get him arrested at the end of this. No John next season?
Okay, I know early on this season, I was on here yapping, talking about how, we didn't need John Kreese anymore, that it was something, but this is still really, really shocking. The only thing more shocking that I've learned today is that the actor who played Terry Silver is actually, like, younger than Ralph Macchio. Like, what world is that possible? But anyway, no, I was so shocked by the way that all of this unfolded, because I thought we're going to get rid of John Kreese, that it was going to be John Kreese doing something legitimately bad and sort of Terry being the person to put him away and being the quote unquote hero. I never really thought that it was going to be, Terry's actually so much worse than John Kreese, who actually has an element of humanity here.
Again, this show does sort of redemption arcs so well, where we did see, John kind of turning a corner as well. It's not no mercy all the time. We saw it with Tori. We saw him having regrets about how he handled everything with Johnny.
Yeah.
And now he's being carted off to jail.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I am so excited to see what happens with Terry next season. He is diabolical. He really is.
I feel like there is at least a chance we will see John Kreese again, mostly because if I'm Johnny or if I'm Daniel at this point, we got to figure out how to defeat Terry Silver. He feels almost unstoppable at this point. John Kreese does know him better than almost anyone. Even if he's behind bars, they can go and, give him a call, go visit him, find a way to get some info out of him.
Terry ending it with basically like, don't worry about Johnny, I got him. I was like, oh my goodness, this next season is going to be so good.
Yeah, it feels different. It feels really, really high stakes. We could have like this other travel component here now because of what happened with Miguel, where it felt like we were kind of building a little bit towards this over the past few episodes, especially where we see Miguel hear drunk Johnny say Robbie is the person who he loves. And I think it's kind of made him yearn to have that natural father figure. So for him to go off and try to find his real father, he's young, he's confused, he's looking for something. I understand emotionally why he would do this.
Carmen admitting that his father doesn't even know that he exists was really shocking.
Yeah.
Like, really shocking. I mean, we don't know anything about Miguel's dad, so it's, how bad of a guy is he that she wouldn't even tell him and just get out of there with Miguel? But on the other side of it, I mean, what did she expect? You want to know who you are.
Yeah.
You want to know where you came from. You want to know who your biological parents are. You want answers with that. I think that this was always going to be sort of this natural place that you land. It doesn't matter how much your mom or dad tells you, oh, this other person is terrible, you need to leave it alone. It's just, you need answers. So, it's not surprising that we're here.
No, it's not surprising at all. And my big point of curiosity is how is the show going to handle this? Because I think it'll be compelling if you have, say, for example, Johnny and Carmen off looking for Miguel in, say, Mexico City or wherever this journey leads them. But at the same time, do you really want to have, Johnny Lawrence away in another country for a big chunk of the season, away potentially from Robbie after they just turned a corner and all of these other characters? It's not going to be an easy thing to balance.
No, it really isn't. And that's what's going to be really exciting about it. I mean, every season can't be about sort of the next All Valley, right? Like, there's got to be other things going on in these characters' lives.
So one thing we tried to do a little bit of research here is to figure out, okay, are we for sure going to see Miguel next season? Because we know, this actor, he's got a lot of different projects in the works, but it seems at least, filming is already done on season 5. We haven't heard anything suggesting that he's leaving. I think the schedule worked out. I'm pretty confident that Miguel's still a part of the show somehow.
Yeah, because he's got some other big projects coming up, but they're coming up. They haven't filmed yet. So he's still in a position where, season 5's already done.
Yeah. Okay. This is the best part about this. That's why I'm so giddy. It's like, okay, we have one really crazy twist. We have another really crazy twist. And then we end on a really crazy twist where Chosen shows up and he all of a sudden, the game changes again for Daniel LaRusso.
Yeah, because the big bet, of course, was whichever dojo wins, the other one has to close down and move on. And we saw Daniel just make a decision, which I thought was really good because it shows that he is changing. He is actually kind of opening his mind a little bit more. We saw it at the All Valley where he was kind of like, hey, listen, Johnny, I'm sorry. Some of the stuff that you're teaching is really important. And there was that moment between them, and more of a bigger moment for Daniel where he's kind of like, man, I'm not always right. And I do need to open my mind because if I don't, I won't ever grow and I won't ever change. And for him to make the decision where he's like, listen, Cobra Kai isn't honorable. They were never going to honor this bet. I've decided I'm also not honoring his pet. I was like, wow, that's not a Daniel thing to do. I'm really impressed that he's decided that he's not going to allow that to stop teaching his kids.
Daniel, I'm so thankful you decided to watch our Cobra Kai coverage this season. I know you clearly learned a lot from what Jess and I have been saying because your mind is now open. You are realizing that there is a gray area. You can do your own thing. You can listen to other people. And here is Chozen, another person who understands the Miyagi way and those traditions. And you guys can find a way to work together to take down Cobra Kai once and for all. I mean, as for how you're going to do this when Terry Silver has more money and potentially multiple locations.
Yeah, but Chozen has something that Daniel doesn't have, which is learning a lot more about offense on Miyagi-Do, and that is something that Chozen can teach and can help with, and I think that he's going to be extremely valuable.
I really hope so. And just one more piece of advice here for Daniel LaRusso. You created all of these really catchy like car commercials and all this stuff we saw early on in the season. We didn't really see much of the dealership this season.
Which I'm fine with.
Yeah. But you need to figure out how to use some of those advertising skills now in your dojo. Certainly don't do any of the marketing that Johnny Lawrence did for his early on this season, but try.
Yeah.
You need to get people.
Oh, man, he really needs to get people because if Terry Silver is really going to be doing what he's doing, which is just like opening up tons of these dojos, he's going to have an army.
Yeah, so I just think we're coming out of this feeling really, really good. I mean, other than this Amanda story, which I think we both pretty much just completely don't like, I think this was a really good finale.
Yeah, I think this was a great finale. This whole season was fantastic. It was really worth the wait. It was a really fun ride. Great karate, great stories, great redemption arcs, new great villain. It was so good. Truly loved it. 10 out of 10.
And now we have to wait until season 5.
Why you gotta ruin it with that?
They've already filmed, so they could. You guys can release it tomorrow. I know that's not going to happen. They got to like post-production and all that. But there's still a chance it will be out sooner rather than later. I think for sure it'll be out in 2022. So let us cross our fingers, hope for the best. But of course, subscribe to the channel. Let us know everything you want to see in season 5. We are so excited for the future of Cobra Kai.
Yep.
And we will see you here next time.